What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Gauntlet on Saturday night. I am your host, James Tatum, otherwise known as JT Shiesty. I'm here with Tyler Ingram, Detroit Dom, and of course Jay, the main co-host of the show. And joining us for the first time in quite some time, we have Mr. Joseph Jenkins down here in the bottom left. And for the first time, we have Ray Lynn, one of our partners here on the Sideline Sports Network. So definitely glad to have all you guys on the show. We will be going over the Super Bowl, making our Super Bowl predictions, sharing our favorite memories of past Super Bowls, and all kinds of other stuff throughout the show. But how you guys all doing? And how's the week been for you guys?
Yeah, so I'm doing good. I love this week. Being able to be part of the Super Bowl media has been super fun. Asking questions to the Bengals players, asking questions to Rams players, getting some insight, preparation on how they're working, getting ready for the Super Bowl. And I'm good. Yeah, it's a good weekend. I'm excited.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic job, Tyler. And then we also have Coach Gio joining us, and he's ready for the Super Bowl. He's ready for tomorrow with the Rams. What's going on, Gio?
Nothing much, man. Sorry I'm late, but I'm very excited.
It's all good, man. Sometimes you just got to be fashionably late to the party. I know I was always fashionably late to the Super Bowl party, and that's why I just pretty much watched the game, skipped out on halftime, ate as much food as I can, and probably dipped back to my house. But that's another story. We ain't going to go there, man. So we're going to actually start the show off going over some of the coaching hires since they were all announced. So just a quick recap. We had Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels sign with the Raiders. The Giants signed Bills offensive coordinator Brian DeBall. The Dolphins hired 49ers OC Mike McDaniel. Broncos got Packers OC Nathaniel Hackett. Jaguars hired former Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. Bears hired Matt Eberflus. Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, offensive coordinator of the Rams. And the Houston Texans rounding it up with Lovie Smith, who has a lot of coaching experience with the Bears, and also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Jay, do you want to start us off and tell us who do you think was the best coaching hire of this whole coaching cycle?
I know some people may expect me to say Lovie Smith, who actually got promoted from defensive coordinator to head coach, and he also will be calling the defensive plays. He's going to wear both hats next year. But believe it or not, that wasn't the best one to me. The best one to me was Josh McDaniels to the Raiders, and here's why.
Really?
Because we've all seen him in Denver, and it really didn't work out that much. He was the guy that was responsible for bringing in Tebow. Okay. It didn't work out. He went to New England, and he was the offensive coordinator out there. Now, get this. He has had all this time under Bill Belichick, and he hasn't held a head coaching job since like 2010. So he had all this time under Belichick. He fleeced the Indianapolis Colts. He fleeced the Colts to stay in New England and get more experience and more success out there. And now I feel like he's ready to be a head coach again. I'm curious to see what he would do with it because he's an offensive guru. I'm curious to see what he could do with Derek Carr, with Josh Jacobs, and everybody else on the offense. I think it's a really great hire. I'm happy for the Raiders. And here's to them competing once again in that division.
Let me go next. I'll be quick. It's not Josh McDaniel because the Bill Belichick coaching tree is a broken twig.
Okay.
The best hire only by default is Peterson to the Jags, and that if you look at the names on the rest of that list, I would not want any of those men coaching my team, and that's coming from a Lions fan. Someone else go ahead.
All right, Ray, you want to take it?
Yeah, Dom just hit on it, man. It was the most uneventful hiring period I've ever seen. It would be like if the NBA trade deadline went past and Harden and Simmons didn't get moved. You'd be like, who cares about the rest of these? I didn't like none of these coaching hires. I was looking at the names like, who are these guys? Where did they find them from? We looked at Kellen Moore, expecting him to get a job. We looked at Byron Leftwich, Eric Bieniemy. None of those guys moved. So I didn't really care about none of these guys that hired. And then Lovie Smith is a name we know, but he took a horrible job. So I didn't like none of these moves. Josh McDaniels, again, we know coaches coming off the Belichick tree don't make a lot. So I didn't like none of these moves. not to repeat what he said, by default is kind of Doug Peterson. He has had some success as a coach, so you put him over there with Trevor Lawrence, and we see what Jacksonville can do to build that situation. But I didn't like 98.9% of these hires.
That's fair.
Who could even, one of them got a job, no one even knew who he was or could pronounce his name. It's Eberflus.
Mike Eberflus.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name. I'm pretty sure I butchered it. But JJ, who you got as the best coaching hire of this whole cycle?
Well, I do echo everybody else's sentiment. There isn't too many that I would say I don't really like jump at like, wow, okay, you made the next step. I will say the one that I understand the most is Josh McDaniels to the Raiders, because if you look at how their team is made up similar to how the Patriots ran with Mac Jones, where you have that short to mid-range game with a dominant run game. So, and the reason why I will give him a little bit of a chance is he went and got Tebow, and nobody else wanted him. And that was a lot of controversy going on there when he had that time with him. So it wasn't like he was well-liked because he was the one that backed Tebow. I will give him a better chance because Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Tebow. Josh Jacobs and that offensive line is pretty good. That defense is coming around. I think it's more going to be about the talent that's around him and this team compared to that team. And as far as the coaching tree, he's the only one, if I can remember, that's actually made the playoffs and won a playoff game. I can't recall anyone else. So if we're going to look at LVP being a broken twig, he's the one that has shown that there might be something there.
The man genius, Jets coach. What's his name?
Eric Mangini.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mangini. But like
it.
Even that is it. But it's like, as far as like, just, I think it's just a better situation from Josh McDaniels, because to be truthfully honest with you, if he wasn't going to take the whole head coaching job, I even lobbied for him to come to the Ravens as OC. I think he's a really good offensive coordinator who understands situations and who his players are. So I think he's going to be in a better situation with the Raiders. I think so.
Gotcha. Sure. Yeah.
So I think the best coaching hire, it might not actually have to do with actual coaching. And I think that's going to be the Nathaniel Hackett hire by the Denver Broncos. And the reason being is that probably is a leverage move for Aaron Rodgers to go there. Aaron Rodgers' fiance, Shailene Woodley, lives part-time in Boulder, Colorado. You bring in Nathaniel Hackett there. They just yesterday hired Dom Capers as a senior assistant. So look at that. Us. Yeah, but I have to say this. I have to say Nathaniel Hackett, because don't you guys all agree if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver Broncos, they're a better football team?
Now we're beefing. Jay, now me and Tyler are beefing. Put on your cheese head.
That's not
false. But that's not false.
Not really anything to do with coaching, though, Tyler. That's a totally different point you're making. Like,
it's about you being a cheese head.
Coach is going to lead football teams and make them a better team in a coaching standpoint. So how do you think Nathaniel Hackett's going to do that for Denver?
Tell this man.
But to his point, but by that logic, what has Matt LaFleur done without Aaron Rodgers? So can you honestly put that to him and say, has he really been coaching, or has it really been more
innovative and better than it was with Mike McCarthy? So
I'm sad that you said Hackett, Tyler.
I think they got
better. But
I got better players. I think
there's not a lot of choices. That's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is we all kind of feel the same way. It was a lackluster coaching hire.
Well, I wrote
around this offseason. I'm basing it off of who's going to finish next season with a better record, because that's all what matters in football, and having a coaching and going forward. And if Nathaniel Hackett goes out there and takes the Denver Broncos to the playoffs, I consider that's a good hire for Denver in the long run.
It's a tough division to win. It's a tough division to beat out.
They might not have to win. They could still get a wild card and get in the playoffs.
That's why I think Rodgers doesn't go to Denver. I've been saying that for a year.
But yeah, anyway, but we're picking the best choice out of all this. We all are in agreement that this is like picking the best looking action figure from the dollar store.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I said
anything from the dollar store.
Now. It's Peterson by default.
One of those action figures is a Super Bowl champion head coach. One of those Super Bowl champion head coach is going to the most.
That's why I said Peterson. He's the obvious only choice.
That's really talented that had a brutal year. So Doug Peterson going to the Jaguars is a slam dunk move in my opinion.
And he's a former quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence came into Urban Meyer, which was detrimental to his development as a quarterback. And Doug Peterson,
Urban Meyer, my favorite kicker.
He doesn't just have experience as a head coach. He played quarterback in the NFL. He was a backup quarterback for many years.
For the Eagles, matter of fact.
In that regard, he has that experience. He has that experience as a QB coach, an OC. So he's kind of been there, done that all the way around.
That's the other reason that's the best hire.
When it comes to the fundamentals, I think that they're really going to work with Trevor, and they're going to get Trevor going in the right direction. Also, they have cap space. They have the number 1 overall pick, so they have a lot of ammunition to make that team better going into next year. And then I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team or anything like that, but they're going to build a good foundation in year 1 with Doug and Trevor in his second year, and then they're going to be able to go forward.
I think if they want any chance of success, they need to build that line.
Yep, Evan Neal is their guy.
Build that line.
If they don't take him, they're dumb.
Absolutely.
On both sides, not just offense, on defense. By the way, I haven't met Mr. Gio here at the bottom. I think you said your name is Gio, right?
Yeah, Gio.
Yes.
Oh, nice to meet you, bro. I've been like
Gio, please give us your take.
And Mr. Raylan, nice to see you again, bro.
Give us your take.
Doug Peterson's obviously the obvious choice, but I like Mike McDonald though, or McDaniel from the 49ers. Okay. I know he didn't call the plays. I know this and that. He's kind of a quirky fellow, but I will say he was on that Commander's staff with Sean McVay, Mike LaFleur, and to
Kyle
me,
Shanahan,
Kyle Shanahan. And listen, I know he doesn't call the plays, but I'm sure he has a pretty good input of the game plan. And if they can fix the offensive line with the Dolphins, because clearly last year they struggled, the defense is kind of set, and they can get more weapons. I mean, that could be a nice team next season, but it's all going to depend on Tua. Can he stay healthy? Can he progress? Because I thought in certain spots last year, you just kind of looking at deer in the headlights in some of those games. But I like the Mike McDaniel hire as kind of a wild card. If they could fix the offensive line in the offseason, the defense is fine. I mean, we've seen them in stretches play very well. If you get another receiver in there and Tua can stay healthy, that could be a nice team. But definitely Doug Peterson's probably my definitely number 1 because he's been to the Super Bowl. He coached with Andy Reid. He knows how to coach. I thought he got a raw deal at the end there in Philadelphia, but
I agree
Andy
with
Reid.
that.
Andy Reid. Andy Reid's coaching tree.
Conversation we could have about that. So
Andy Reid's coaching tree is better than Belichick's. Go ahead, James.
Yes, much better. Yeah. So we're going to actually segue to Super Bowl memories. When you look at past Super Bowls, there's just been a lot of.
That means moments. Dom, you cannot participate.
Yep. Well, he's not the only one that can participate. But we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
It's not just about your team. Hey, Joe, Matt.
We're not going to go there. We ain't going to go there. But
Matt Stafford says hi, JJ.
There's a lot of defining moments from this game throughout history. So, Tyler, I'm going to start with you. For you, what are your favorite Super Bowl memories? I guess from Green Bay winning in the past, and or any others that you might have.
So I remember my very first Super Bowl that I remember watching because I was young, obviously, was the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 30. But I remember Super Bowl 31, obviously, with Drew Bledsoe taking on Brett Favre, Desmond Howard returning that, kick return and taking it to the house. I mean, that was a super cool moment for me as a Packers fan because I was super young. So seeing my uncle and aunt super happy, I love that. And then 2010 season too, because the 2010 season for the Packers was special because they got hot at the right time. Yep. They got hot at the end of the season. They started winning a bunch of games, and then they went on the road and beat Philadelphia, went into Atlanta. Nobody said they were going to beat Atlanta, went and played the Bears. The Bears were supposed to beat us that year. I had all kinds of family because I do have family there that were talking a bunch of crap. Packers beat them and then beat Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. And the moment in that game that I knew we won, because Jordy Nelson scored. It was 7-0. Pittsburgh went down there, kicked a field goal. But it was that when Pittsburgh came back out on the field and then Nick Collins pick-sixed it and took it to the house for the Packers and they went up, that was the moment that I knew the Packers are going to win that Super Bowl. So that was my memory, my favorite memories.
Awesome stuff there. Dom, what is your favorite memory of the Super Bowl? Since you don't have memories of your team winning, but
favorite is the David Tyree helmet catch and then the Plaxico Burress touchdown catch, because anytime I see Tom Brady lose, let alone on the biggest stage, like that ranks very high up there. First Super Bowl memory was Super Bowl 23. It was actually the Bengals and the Niners and the Icky Shuffle. I didn't watch much regular season football that year, but I watched every minute of that Super Bowl. And then, in the offseason / draft time, the Lions drafted the GOAT number 20. And I've watched 99.5% of every Lions game ever since then. But yeah, that's all I got. Joe?
JJ?
2012, more so because I remember that was the one time in my life where I felt like everything I was predicting for the team actually went well. I remember 2 instances throughout that season, and at the Super Bowl number 1, I hit my head on the ceiling when we won because I jumped up so high, didn't realize it. And then I remember my nephew saying, "We're the Ravens. We won. We won." He was just about 2 years old, but he was a Ravens fan. And it was just the best moment because I thought we were going to coast, but when it got tight and then we got that, we finally got it. It was just after years and years of getting so close to actually getting there. The Ravens have been to 5 straight playoffs, 3 AFC title games, losing the year before, which I thought was the better Ravens team than the one that got in there and won. It was the best moment. You couldn't tell me nothing. I had everybody at my job hating me. I came into work. I was sitting there just gloating on everybody. I was like, I don't care. It just was a great moment. It was a great moment. I love that. 2012.
Yeah, for sure. So, Jay, what was your favorite Super Bowl memory?
Oh, man. I got so many of them, but just one that stands out was I remember watching Super Bowl 23. And that was the second meeting between the Bengals and the 49ers. And just that whole game, because there actually was a low-scoring first half. I think it was 6-6 at halftime. And then the second half happened in the fourth quarter, and Jennings for the Bengals took a kick all the way for 6 to go up ahead. And then, so y'all know I'm a Warren Moon fan, real heavy. Well, my number 2 dude was Montana. And I watched Montana march down that field and then ultimately hit John Taylor in the back of that end zone. And it was just amazing. It's an iconic moment to me, but that's the one that stands out the most to me was Super Bowl 23.
For sure. And Coach Gio, what's your Super Bowl memory? Your favorite memory of the Super Bowl?
Well, I am a Rams fan, so Super Bowl 34, Mike Jones makes the tackle. And the Titans
great Super Bowl. Great
1 yard away. And
that was so close.
That was so close. I mean, the game probably would have been tied. But I think another one, the Seahawks and Patriots, Pete Carroll doesn't run the ball. I mean, they decide to throw it. The pass is picked off. And Tom Brady adds another Super Bowl. I honestly thought they would run the football with Marshawn Lynch. But, yeah, I know.
Yeah. That was probably the worst call ever.
We were talking about it before the show.
Worst Super Bowl.
And then obviously the Falcons and the Patriots. I had so many Falcons fans text me
also
first half. Also half, and
literally run the football. Don't run the football in the second half. It's so dumb.
Mike Shanahan, for as good of a coach as he is, he's kind of an idiot sometimes.
But Coach Gio, what is ironic about that is I've seen Matt Ryan go 55 yards in 19 seconds and beat the Baltimore Ravens in the regular season. but you couldn't go 55 yards with one timeout left in the Super Bowl to win a game. And they didn't run the ball. They didn't run the ball, so we're not going to say it's just Kyle Shanahan.
Oh.
They didn't run the ball when they beat us.
Ryan.
They threw it down the field. So if you could do it then, you could have done it then.
I have no understanding why.
And to
Matt
JJ's
Ryan,
point,
you
on that
mean
same drive,
Fugazi Matty Ice? Because the real Matty Ice is in the Super Bowl tomorrow. Difference is he's going to win.
and to JJ's point, on that same drive, he converted a third down to Julio Jones to put them in field goal range.
That game still kind of just
it's
blows
just
my
crazy.
mind.
It's just crazy though. When you're up by that many points, you run the ball because you want to milk clock. That's what you want to do. You want to have time of possession and you want to milk clock. That's the whole. As good as you can have the best air in the world. It's just the coaching was so dumb.
I think it's
And he
more
didn't
Kyle
have bums
Shanahan.
at running back. He had Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman.
I think it's more on Kyle.
I mean,
Shanahan
David Quinn also should get a lot of blame
I
too.
think someone handed a 4-year-old the PlayStation controller, and that's what you saw in that second half. Because that's what it looked like.
I think
It
coaches
just crumbled, man.
It was the Kyle Shanahan special.
It's the fail can.
And I will-
Is anyone really that surprised?
I think
And I will
coaches
just-
I think
It's the Patriots.
I think coaches in this era get too ahead of themselves and don't get back to basics. There's a reason why Bill Belichick and them have won the Super Bowls that they have. They understand running the football when you need to run the football.
Yeah, I mean
They
that.
understand the situation.
I
Reid,
understand the blood oath.
Andy Reid does too much. Matt Ryan
That's what happened
and
in
Kyle
the AFC
Shanahan
Championship.
does too much.
Sean McVay's on there too.
Does too much.
Too much.
True.
So,
Well,
so
I
Raylan,
mean,
Man.
Hit us with your favorite Super Bowl memory.
Oh no, I'm
Exactly.
gonna. Ray wants to go last. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Obviously, everyone.
Oh, Ray about to give a sermon.
Everybody bringing up how the Philly special and all that, but for me, it's the strip sack on
The
Tom
strip
Brady.
sack, I knew it.
The strip sack with Brandon Graham getting there. Here's the thing about this. Here's the thing about this play. This play happened in the worst situation because you give the ball to Tom. We kick the field goal, and then Tom Brady gets the ball back with like 2 minutes and something left. We all know how that normally ends when you give Tom Brady the ball with 2 minutes and something left. So at that moment, that's when I really felt like we had won the Super Bowl, even though, there was still time on the clock and they had the Hail Mary. Ball hits the ground and that's it. And the Eagles win their first Super Bowl. But there was a lot of plays in that game that, there was a catch on 4th down where Zach Ertz snags it and it's like 1 inch over the first down marker, everything like that. So, yeah, those were definitely some of my favorite memories. But just like Gio was saying, one of my first that Super Bowl that he was talking about was one of the first Super Bowls I really remember watching. And the Titans had a really good team that year. Steve McNair was crazy. He was running around doing stuff.
That was a physical team. That was a very physical team.
Eddie George, they could really run the ball and hit you in the mouth. But yeah, those are definitely some good memories that I have from the Super Bowl. But Ray Lynn,
And
we're interested to hear what your favorite
and
Super
they had
Bowl
a
memory
rookie.
is, man.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
they
let
had
me
a
make
rookie
sure,
defensive
JJ.
end that was
you
Julius
that just
Peppers
said
before Julius Peppers. They had Javon Curse, who had a breakout rookie year.
The freak.
That was really a catalyst to that defense being as physical and being able to get
you know
off.
what?
The freak's one of my favorite DNs ever.
And they beat the Rams that year during the regular season. So they already had beaten them already. So
And another play that stands out, and everybody's talking about the 1 yard short. Of course, that's an iconic play in history. The play before, the play just prior to that, McNair escaped a 6 and made a play to even get them down there.
Who asked you to start talking for it was my turn to talk? Anybody asked you to start back talking for it was my turn to talk? Hey, real quick, JJ, that was you that just sent me a friend request earlier, right? Unfriend. We will not tolerate Detroit Lions with disrespect around here, bro. We don't tolerate no Detroit Lions disrespect around here.
they
man.
do have
Talking
like an
about
NFL
Tom
championship.
Kane.
I'm
right?
sorry. I'm sorry, my 2 rings are blinding you
Hey,
from me seeing you. So
Listen,
I
hold
don't
on, I'm
know.
gonna show you guys.
The topic
me
was
get
a
to these
favorite
memories.
Super Bowl memory of your team. You don't think
Yeah.
we'd love to have a memory to talk about? Go ahead, Ray.
Listen, man, I'm gonna get to this because we sports fans. Ain't none of us got no rings. You ain't got no 2 rings. A team that you just decided to root for got rings. Let's do that. So the reason I wanted to go last, man, I kind of wanted to see where everybody else was gonna go with it because there's so many. Y'all touched on a lot of the games. The Malcolm Butler interception, the David Tyree helmet catch. Nobody talks about the Mario Manning catch down the sideline in that same
That's
game.
another game.
The Santonio Holmes tiptoe on the sideline, man, where they go down the field marching. Y'all talked about Dyson and the 1 yard short. For me, being born in 81, I really started getting into sports in the mid 90s, right? And John Elway coming up short previously in the Super Bowl. He gets to the Super Bowl, 3rd and 6, takes off running, and he 37 years old, dives and spins helicopters through the air to pick up the first down. And that was like the marquee play and him eventually getting his first Super Bowl. So it's so many moments to pick from. I could keep going, but that one right there, because for whatever reason, I became an Elway fan because he hadn't won. I love the underdog story. So him, and they were huge underdogs in that game, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
You know,
Elway,
it's funny you mentioned
big underdog.
It's funny you mentioned the Super Bowl with the Santonio Holmes because earlier in that drive, Darnell Dockett was 0.000000001 second from sacking Big Ben on 4th down, and the game would have been over.
And when you talk about games, and Denzel just brought it up, we all remember Kevin Dyson being a yard short. What people never talk about is if McNair doesn't make the play he makes before that,
Exactly.
that play isn't in play. People talk about the Malcolm Butler interception.
Yep.
Nobody talk about Kurt's crazy reception to keep that drive alive. We caught the ball like almost laying down. So as fans, man, if you watch this game, there's so many moments to pick from. But again, the John Elway moment for me, man, just sticks out so much.
How about the Bills losing 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s? I mean, that's a pretty.
Is that a moment?
I mean, it's like a ton of moments together, but
it's the moment.
It's like the moment, with an S.
Total time. It's like
can y'all imagine? I can imagine losing 4 straight Super Bowls in a row.
Just to get there 4 times in a row. In a row.
The sack kings.
They
can't even
Normally,
get
if you
sack
the Cowboys
king a Super Bowl.
If you do anything 4 times in a row, you might luck up and succeed one of those times.
Yeah, he's
or
one.
by accident.
They all 4
still ain't
years
had
they
head
literally
on.
ran into the best division in football.
I would love to hear Craig Smith's favorite Super Bowl memory, because it wasn't none of those 4.
He probably doesn't have one like you. But anyway, we'll go to the most underrated Super Bowl of all time.
The hate.
So I think I'm gonna start us off here. I'm gonna go with the Colts versus the Saints, because if you guys remember that game, the Saints won 31-17, got the pick six at the end of the game, but the turning point of the game, the score was 10-6, and they came out of the second half, and the Saints did an onside kick, and that's the play that really changed a lot of the momentum for the Saints in this game, because at that point, the Saints really started playing, a lot better football. They scored 25 points in the second half. Drew Brees had a really good game. I think he was 31 of 39 for 288 yards, 3 touchdown passes. He was really pinpoint accurate on some of these throws. And then, the pick six at the end of the game kind of put it away for the Saints. And it was a great story just because of all the stuff with Hurricane Katrina as well. So that's definitely a Super Bowl that I think does not get brought up as much as some of these other great games that we've enjoyed over the years.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a former Raven got a Super Bowl ring because he was on that team.
What's yours, Joe? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Or Joe,
No, y'all go ahead. I'll catch up.
All right, Tyler, what you got?
So this question is hard to me because obviously if we're talking about underrated, we're not talking about the ones that are highly regarded, like such as the Seahawks and the Patriots one that gets brought up quite a bit. The Raylan alluded to Santonio Holmes, so we could talk about like that Pittsburgh Steelers and Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl. That one gets brought up a lot. So we're talking about underrated. So I'm trying to think of one that I think is underrated and not be biased. Honestly, I would probably say. Actually, Dom, I'm going to go to you and let me think about it for a second.
Well, you already blew my whole segment because I was going to say the Arizona and Pittsburgh one. Like that gets brought up a lot, but like that's one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen.
I mean, I honestly was going to bring up the Tennessee Titans and the Rams one because I love that Super Bowl.
Well,
I thought that was a great Super Bowl, but
stuff people already mentioned bled into this segment. So like all my thunder was taken.
I love how nobody has brought up any Patriots Super Bowls that they won. It's like
I think
Super
the
Bowls
one
that they
against
enjoyed.
I think the field goal.
I think the 0-1 one against the Greatest Show on Turf was a really great Super Bowl as a defensive shutdown.
Vinatieri in that Super Bowl too.
I think the one against the Panthers.
Falk, I think Marshall Falk was the MVP or won the way to MVP that year.
Yeah.
And then he got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well,
Willie
they did
McGinnis,
record our
Teddy Bruschi.
practices. You know what I'm saying? Like, they did record us.
Wow.
They did. Hey, the NFL burned the tapes,
I'm gonna get
man.
mine.
You want to know what?
Again,
Again, 2 words.
They did it to us too. So
You want to know why no one brings up Patriots Super Bowl wins?
I love defense, and I love shutting down teams in defense. I've personally seen my team do it themselves, but the Bucks over the Raiders Super Bowl was my favorite because when from start to finish, the Bucks just looked like they were there, and the Raiders were not. The Raiders, I think, had the highest offense coming in, and it wasn't just Simeon Rice, it wasn't just Warren Sapp, it was Brian Kelly, it was Dexter Jackson, it was Derek Brooks. I mean, every single player. That was the one Super Bowl I realized. I was like, everybody got MVP. Because every single person affected that outcome of that game. Simeon
It was a blowout. It was a blowout.
I didn't see a single snap of that Super Bowl. It's the only one I haven't seen all of.
Because if you wanted to see a defense at its best, that is the defense at its best.
I'm gonna go real quick because and it's just piggybacking off of JJ because that's exactly what I was gonna pick. You had the highest scoring team in the league. You had an MVP quarterback in Rich Gannon, Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, Charlie Garner. No one can stop the Raiders, right? And then here come the Bucks, and Gannon completely disappeared. And let me say, and I get it. We all love an exciting game. We all love a heavyweight back and forth punch out. But coming from a defensive guy, that was a defensive magnum opus, and you love to see it. They completely shut down the Raiders. And
they look like they didn't even belong there.
That sounds
give me a number one defense over a number one offense any day.
Any day. Any day.
Hey, James.
I just like to see good games.
Admin privileges and mute Denzel next time he talked before me. That's what we're going to do. We're going to mute this because it's funny. JJ brought it up. Like, I was going to do this big build up to the 03, like Rich Gannon was the MVP. And that's the game I was going to talk about.
Damn, he took the Super Bowl.
What people don't talk about in that game is, like, Oakland was getting blown out. And then they made a charge and came back, and then they threw 2 late pick sixes. So it looks like a huge blowout. But they had pulled the game to within like 13 with like 7 minutes left. So on that same note, right, I just love to see high-powered offenses make it all the way to the Super Bowl and then just get destroyed. I loved it when it happened. Peyton Manning, 2013 MVP, gets to the Super Bowl, Legion shut him down. Matt Ryan gets to the Super Bowl, second half, Patriots shut him down.
Are you talking about the Super Bowl Rams?
Cam Newton gets to the Super Bowl MVP year, gets shut down. We already talked about Marshall Falk and Rich Gannon. So I just like it anytime a league MVP and a high-powered offense gets to the Super Bowl and completely again, we talked about greatest show on turf. It happened to the Raiders. It happened to Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Happened to Cam Newton and the Panthers. Like, I love to see when that happens. So any of those Super Bowls.
Just to touch real quick on Raylan's point, but they did start coming back, but the problem with the Raiders coming back in that game is they didn't do it until 2 minutes in the third quarter. It was 34-3. They scored what, 2 minutes left in the third quarter, so they started too late with their comeback. That was the problem with them in that game.
Absolutely. But again, I mean, you don't roll over and die. You can pull that game to within 2 scores, and then they got the ball back with a chance to pull it within 1 score, but then they throw a pick six. Now the game is over, and it looks like a runaway. It was start to finish, but not really. Like in the middle of that game, the Raiders tried to make it interesting. But yeah, I mean, Rich Gannon was made to look very mediocre.
They tried to make it look interesting, but yeah, the game was not as close as the score in the game.
I can hear something, by the way. Is that you, Dom?
I don't know. Does someone have their TV on or something right now?
It wasn't me.
It's not my TV.
No, I said Dom.
Oh, it's me.
Oh, it's me.
Okay. All right. But just to like your guys' point about the Buccaneers and everything, it's the Buccaneers and the Seahawks in 2013 are like so similar. It's like it's pretty much the same exact story. MVP quarterback, high-powered offense gets completely shut down. Literally, the snap goes over Peyton Manning's head. They start off the game with that safety, and it was just a giant snowball rolling down the hill after that. It was one of the most brutal performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Which one?
So talking about it, it's the same thing Tampa Bay did to Mahomes last year.
So we're about halfway through the show. So
I think his offensive line was pretty bad.
we're about halfway through the show. So I'm going to do a little shout out to the Score No Score app. Anyone can download that app. You can download, on iOS. You can download it on Android software. But the Score No Score app, definitely play it tomorrow during the Super Bowl. You can bet on possessions. So whether you can score on one possession, and you can bet is a certain amount of allotted coins. You can also buy coins, but it does come with a populated amount of coins. So definitely check out the Score No Score app.
Yep. And also check out Law Terrain Men's Watches and Accessories, which is an official sponsor for the Gauntlet. You can use promo code Philly Gym to get 10% off. They got watches, they got sunglasses.
Yeah, sunglasses.
Bags, like all kinds of accessories and cool stuff that you guys can also get. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the moment we've all been waiting for.
No, to shut the fuck up.
Super Bowl 56. Bengals versus Rams in LA. So for the second straight year, a home team has hosted the Super Bowl.
But they're technically the away team, technically.
Even though they're not.
And this time it wasn't a fix.
Anyway, Jay and Tyler, you guys did a fantastic job on all the Zoom calls. So we had some really good Super Bowl coverage for this week. We talked to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, talked to Matt Gay, the kicker for the Rams. We talked to all kinds of assistant coaches and coordinators. So I'll just be honest. When I look at Joe Burrow, he's so calm. Like there's nothing that you can do that's going to rattle this guy. He might throw an interception, but he's not going to ever second guess himself. You might be able to hit him a lot. Aaron Donald and these guys might be coming at him, but it doesn't affect him the way that we've seen it affect a lot of different quarterbacks in the league. So I just think that for him to be so young and have this calm presence, that just shows true leadership by Joe Burrow. And that's the most impressive thing that I've seen from him in his second year, coming off an injury where he tore every ligament in his knee and he really bounced back. So I really think that this is going to be a good game, but I'm going to pick the Bengals to win this one and win their first Super Bowl. I think that it's going to come down to one drive at the end, and I think Joe Burrow is going to get them into field goal range, and the Bengals win this one 34-31 with Jamar Chase winning the Super Bowl MVP.
You just said all this stuff about Joe, and they're going to say Jamar gets the MVP?
Well, I think Jamar and Joe together is going to be what's the difference in the game. And I
Give us our prediction, JJ. You're next.
I think Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar is going to be the biggest matchup that in this game that's going to decide the game. And I think Jamar's going to win that matchup.
Go ahead, Joe. We can go counterclockwise, and Ray, you can be last if you want.
And Denzel, we can't talk when he's talking.
Listen. I've already heard Ray Lynn's prediction on like 2 different shows already twice. So like I already know what Ray Lynn's prediction is going to be.
I wonder who he's going to pick.
Okay.
I wonder. Boy, I wonder.
Go ahead, JJ.
I'm going Rams by 4, just for the simple fact of the matter is, I do believe Aaron Donald is about to be ascending to a different level in this game. Although I will say it's not just Joe Burrow being worried about the Rams D line. It's also Matt Stafford being worried about the Bengals D line as well. They're both great D lines, but I just think in this game, I think Aaron wanted to get back here. And now that he's back here, I just think he will end up, I'm going bold prediction, he will end up as the MVP because he's going to be a defensive menace and it's going to cause the game sealing turnover to win the game. I call it a fumble force on Joe Burrow because Joe's going to need to lead a drive to come back at the end. But I think the Rams are going to win by 4. And I think Aaron Donald is going to get himself a Super Bowl MVP. And I think he is going to cement himself as what everybody proclaims him to be, which is a top 10 defender of all time.
Go ahead, Gio.
Well, that's music to my ears. Well, obviously, I'm going with the Rams here. I just think the defensive front for the Rams and how they've been playing. What most people don't know, the Rams are also getting probably their second best defensive tackles. Sebastian Joseph-Day will be back from his injury. Darrell Henderson comes back, and some people think he's a better running back than all 2 of them, even though Cam Akers has kind of been up and down since he's been back. But I just think that defensive front, Sean McVay 2 weeks, and they're also going to run the football too. This is a team that finally ran the football the second half of the season and stopped trying to throw bombs down the field. And they've been consistent. Hasn't been great. I mean, the 49ers is a tough front. The Bucks are very tough to run against, and the Rams are always consistent. I think they may slow this game down to a certain point and run that rock enough. But I just think with this defense just coming after each other, A'Shaun Robinson, Greg Gaines, I just think this front is going to be dominant. And nothing against Joe Burrow. I think the Bengals are a team that's on the rise. And I definitely respect their running game, but I just think their offensive line, granted, they didn't give up 9 sacks against the Chiefs, but the Chiefs were there and could have gotten about 5 sacks in that game. They just couldn't get to them right away. But I'm going to go with a little bit of a higher score for the Rams. I think the Rams win 35, and I think the Bengals have 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
You, Jay.
Okay. Well, they say never listen to your heart before your head. My heart wants to pull for the Bengals. The story, Joe Burrow coming back, everything. Here's where my head comes in. Tyler, James, Dom, your witnesses, you too, JJ. I said it since about mid-season. The winner of the Super Bowl will come out of the NFC. I said it. They will come out of the NFC. With that being said, I have to die on this hill. I got to pick the Rams. I think that, and let's take the obvious here. Tennessee dropped Burrow 9 times. Rams got a nightmare pass rush, way better than them. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be I think Burrow's going to be a soldier. He's going to soldier up now, and he's going to make it a game. But at the end, it's going to be too much. I got Rams 37-31, and I'm going to go against the grain and say Cooper Kupp caps off that magnificent year as Super Bowl most valuable player.
I forgot to get my MVP, but I'm going with Matthew Stafford, though.
Safe with it. The quarterback.
That would be the storybook ending. You get to the Super Bowl and nobody still talks about you. And then you win the Super Bowl. And then you can go in everybody's face that you talked about Joe Burrow all this time, but left me hanging.
I got the Rams by 4 as well, 34-30. Shootout. And like Jay said, Burrow has seen some tough pass rushes, but nothing like the Rams. And I think somebody else said, Gio, I expect the Rams to slow it down, keep Burrow in that high-powered offense off the field, run the ball. You've got Akers is healthy. Sony Michel picked it up a lot the last 5-6 weeks of the season. And you've got Darrell Henderson. To be perfectly honest, and because despite, I mean, you couldn't necessarily call them a pass-happy offense when they still had Goff. They could easily be now that they have Stafford and based on the season that Cooper Kupp had. But at heart, Sean McVay likes to run the ball. If I've got those 3 running backs healthy, I'm not throwing the ball whatsoever until I absolutely have to. I will literally rotate 3 backs in and out for a whole game and win, not turn the ball over. It could be very low. I said 34-30, or it could be like the last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl, but they come out on the winning end. They win like 13-3 because they ran the ball for 286 yards. Stafford goes 9 of 12 for 130 yards and 2 more TDs. That's all I got. Floor is yours, Ray.
Send us off nice.
So if you look at both of these teams and you say what's their major strengths, it's very similar, right? You have a quarterback who's talented. You have Burrow, you have Stafford. And then you got this trio of wide receivers, right? You got Boyd, Higgins, and Chase. And then on the other side, you have Kupp, Jefferson, and Odell, right? Then you have running backs who aren't super great, but they can both run the ball. You have Mixon, you have Akers. So then you go, okay, so what are their weaknesses or how do we counter that? Well, on one side, I can counter that with the best defensive like the Bengals' weakness is one of the Rams' strengths. Like they have one of the weakest offensive lines in the NFL. And you're not looking across at Tennessee now. You're looking across at 99, who I'm on record as saying is the greatest defensive player I've ever seen. I've seen LT. I've seen Bruce Smith. I've seen Deion Sanders. And Aaron Donald is a bad man. And on top of that, you have Von Miller behind him. You have Leonard Floyd. And then now you get Raheem Morris will say, from the opening snap, we're putting Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase from start to finish. That should be the plan. Can you please turn that off? That should be the plan, right? So for me, Kansas City couldn't get to the quarterback because they're bad. They don't have a good pass rush. That's not Aaron Donald over there. This is going to be a blowout. This is going to be a rout. And you don't need to ask who my Super Bowl MVP is. I'm mad James pulled that picture up. I'm mad because he pulled it up because they ain't about the picture. I went and got my own made. Dom, we got to talk to him out here, baby. We got to talk to him.
Let's get it.
Hey, I like
Super Bowl MVP is, hold up. If you ask who the Super Bowl MVP is, Dom, when they ask us why we cheering for the Rams, we have to tell them, we cheering for the Rams, and this is why. This is why.
He showed me last night, man.
That is funny. Hold up.
Look, I was going to wear it on the show tonight.
I love you
tomorrow when the game is going on.
That's just
our
pitiful.
quarterback.
That is just pitiful that
No,
you have to
Hey,
hear for another team
Joe,
to win for the guy that used to be with you.
Tell him it's not
Are you
his turn.
taking back the flowers that you gave Matt Stafford, Joe? You can't take back flowers.
No,
Damn, y'all really do need to win something, so y'all don't have to start. This is a new low.
Nobody talked while you was talking.
I didn't say it.
Experienced the pain that we've experienced as fans when Aaron Rodgers gets a phantom face mask and then they call it and now he throws a Hail Mary to win the game. When Golden Tate catches
the catch
ball
rule,
but he's not in. When they bat out the ball over. When Calvin Johnson and it's not a catch.
When
they call interference on Dallas and then take it back. You haven't experienced what we've experienced as Lions fans. So when our guy has an opportunity on the biggest stage, we are riding with him because that's our quarterback.
But he's not your quarterback.
Nobody talked while you was talking. Just take this lesson and live. Stafford has always been this good. Y'all just didn't know it because he played for the Lions. If Matt Stafford played for the Rams his whole career, we would be talking about him as one of the all-time greats. Now he gets the opportunity to go out on the biggest stage and show y'all how talented he is. First round, who did they get? Kyler Murray, get him out of here. Next round, Tom Brady, get him out of here. Oh, San Francisco done beat us 6 times in a row, get him out of here. Joe Burrow, bring it on. Stafford got something for you. That's my quarterback.
What can you even say? I mean, he goes somewhere else and now he's in the Super Bowl. But you want to doubt Matt Stafford? How dare you? Joe's trying to be an Indian giver with Matt Stafford flowers. We know he's not our quarterback, but he's still our quarterback.
So I'm going to go quick because I know we got to get to our next segment. I'm going to pick the Rams. I am going to be different than Raylan. I'm going to have this as a super close game because I want it to be, right? Because I watched a blowout last year that I hated watching. I hated that Super Bowl last year. And I'm gonna hope that Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, BJ Hill, all the guys, Jesse Bates, all those guys step up and they make plays in this game to make this a game. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to pick them 33-31. Matt Gay hits a game-winning field goal. Rams win their Super Bowl in LA.
Okay, then. All right. I'll be on the Bengals Island by myself. Me and Joe Shiesty.
Somebody else picked the Bengals, I thought.
We're gonna run
I
it back.
thought someone picked the Bengals as well.
No one did. It was just James.
The
We're gonna
one
run it
point I
back
didn't
with Joe
bring up.
Shiesty.
Well,
Hey,
James
James.
did comment and
Jimmy-
say 42-0. So James, you must.
Jimmy and Joe are
Hey,
friends
my
now.
prediction.
They had a conversation.
Bengals 49 or Rams 3. R.I.P. Rams.
Hey,
Oh
James.
my God.
James.
Wow, you been
James.
drinking?
Hey, one
No, I'm
point
just
that I
mad
didn't.
that all you guys picked the Rams.
Go ahead, Raylan.
That's because they're going to win. But, James, the one point that I didn't bring up, and this is serious like sports football analysis, right? When you look at that Titans game, which we all look back at because we go, man, he got sacked 9 times, right? And that game was still relatively close with him being sacked 9 times. The difference is Ryan Tannehill not going to be on the other side giving you that ball back 3 times. If that's any other quarterback playing for Tennessee, they blow them out. But Ryan Tannehill just kept giving them the ball back. And then Derrick Henry wasn't himself. 4th and 1. He stutters before he goes through the man. This is going to be a whole different ball game.
Rusty.
That's Matt Stafford on the other side. And he cold as ice right now, bro. Like, shout out to the Bengals. It's a cute story.
Joe Shiesty cold as ice.
To
What
your-
you mean?
To your point,
Midnight.
Raylan,
What
I
you
do
mean?
It's
think-
midnight. Cinderella got to go home. It's midnight.
Yeah.
He's done.
Is it any coincidence that the Bengals wear the
Stafford
same
gotta
color
go
as
home.
what the carriage
It
turns
ain't gonna
back
be
into?
It ain't going to be a far drive either. All right, you know what? No, let's get off of this because we could do this all night. This is normally what we do, Sports Tomorrow of the Week, which is where we bring up the biggest blunders in sports and basically the dumbest people in sports. We're gonna
You could do
change it up-
either.
we're
You
gonna
could do
change
either.
But we're
it up
not
a little
doing that.
We're gonna change it up a little bit, and we're gonna bring up the biggest sports morons of the Super Bowl. So obviously, Tyler,
We can get
I'm
this
gonna let
over
you
real
take the floor,
quick.
bro. I'm gonna let you take.
Yeah, so Gio kind of stole my moment earlier because I was going to definitely bring up the Seahawks not running the football on the goal line. That would probably be my number one Super Bowl. I'm gonna change it a little bit, James. I'm gonna keep it on Sports Moron as well, just in case that people want to add one on too, because it got brought up this week in the NBA, and I want to bring it up. People on Bleacher Report in the offseason said the number one worst signing of the offseason was DeMar DeRozan. Shame on Bleacher Report. Shame on Bleacher Report. So I want to add them on as well.
Dang.
I just saw that report too.
Yeah, they don't
Terrible.
even get paid.
Terrible.
Horrible.
All right, Dom.
Well, since we are going outside of the NFL, and also because, like I said earlier, like one segment bled into the next, like at this point, we could probably say, Super Bowl sports moron, raise your hand if you're voting not running the ball with Marshawn Lynch. Am I right?
I mean, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, you could say Kyle
What is
Shanahan.
understood need not be discussed. My sports moron is, and I'm an hour ago years old when I found this out. Did not know that Sean Marks has been the GM of the Nets for 6 years. Well, 6 years in 6 days, I looked, for making that trade for Ben Simmons. Terrible. Terrible.
Why do you think it was terrible?
Because you trade. Well, I mean, I'm no fan of James Harden. Har_en. The D that's missing is for defense. But
Okay.
just the fact that you traded away James Harden and all you got back was Ben Simmons.
I think you
I'd
have
have
to
taken Ben
I
Simmons
you
for
have
Jeremy
to
Grant.
take out the fact that it's Ben Simmons all he does, because Ben Simmons can still play. Let's not
He
take
could
that
fit
away
great
from
in
him
the
when he
right.
can play. And hold on, James Harden and Kyrie Irving did not get along. So if you're at a job and you're supposed to be performing your best, but every time you come in, it's always tension, and you're a GM trying to put your team in the best position to go to the playoffs, to win, the rotations get slimmer, you have to make a move. You can't
You know what my
just
wish
sit
is?
there and keep this person here when next thing you know, your team blows up and everybody knows it. As we found out with the Indiana Pacers, with Roy Hibbert, Paul George, and everybody else going on. You have to make a move. Harden was not going to be successful staying on that team. And I didn't buy it at first, but I do
Bad
think
trade to start
with
with.
the shooters that they have, as in Kyrie Irving, Patty Mills, Kevin Durant when he comes back, Ben Simmons is a perfect fit for that team because he provides defense as a 6'10" guard. That's not something that just comes by.
My
And you
NBA
can
player
say what you
wish
want about
is
him
for the
shooting and not.
is for the
Ben
Nets to
Simmons,
get Brooklyn,
can
and
nobody
Kyrie can't play in any of those
sit here-
games.
Let me get
Can
this
nobody
straight.
sit
Toronto,
here and
excuse me.
say,
Let me get this straight. So we're talking about James Harden not getting along with, guys on the team and stuff when he's trying to focus on getting the job done. And you have a guy like Kyrie Irving that's not showing up for half the games.
I want the Nets to play Toronto in the playoffs.
He said he wasn't showing up because he didn't want to. Yet James Harden's the problem, yet Kyrie Irving's not the problem.
The mandate in New York City. The mandate in New York City says he cannot play if he's not vaccinated.
Kyrie
It has
Irving
nothing to do with him saying he doesn't want to play.
By himself. Kyrie
It doesn't
Irving
have to
has
do
never been
anything
a
with
league
him
MVP.
not wanting to play, James. The governor changed the rules, but the city
James
mandates
Harden
you cannot
is
play.
being used
Hold
as
on.
a scapegoat.
Hold
He's
on.
not the problem.
Yes, hold on. You're trying to sit there and act like Kyrie just doesn't want to play or nothing. No, the city mandates that you cannot play if you're not vaccinated. He's not vaccinated.
Then he should make the decision that's best for him and best for the team.
Hold on, sir. You're not going to spend this on this man and act like it's just on him. Every one of us has had players on our team that's not vaccinated and does have to follow those protocols. Correct? Yes. Tyler, I know you're not a Kyrie fan. Aaron Rodgers, perfect example, did not want to get vaccinated. He still did what he had to do. We have those guys, so we're not going to act like we don't understand. We do understand. But
are we going to act like Kyrie hasn't been a distraction to his teams?
My point is not about Harden being a problem. My point is there's no way you can make that team work if they're not going to be getting along with each other.
Okay, then get rid of Kyrie.
James, you know what's interesting? On the Super Bowl show, we're now talking about Kyrie and James Harden. I think the winner and loser of that trade boils down to how you feel about Kyrie and James Harden, right? Like the argument typically turns into, oh, well, Kyrie did this, Kyrie did that. I kind of agree with JJ in the sense that, like, it's not like he said he don't want to play basketball. Said he want to get vaccinated. Here are the rules. What's funny is Brooklyn came out and said, we don't want no part-time player, so stay at home. He said, okay. And as soon as they start losing games and having injuries and health and safety protocols,
brought him back.
Kyrie, you can come play away games. We need you, dog. So, like, that can go a lot of ways. Like, James Harden is now on his third team in as many years, right? I'm not saying he's the problem, but he the one that wanted out.
Westbrook with a jumper.
Right. It's a lot of things that can be said about that whole ordeal. And again, I don't think either team won or lost. At the beginning of the year, I said Simmons for Kyrie would have made a lot of sense. Makes sense for both teams. You flip-flop it with Kyrie and it still makes sense, right? Kyrie don't want to play point guard. Now you get a guy who can come in, facilitate. He got some shooters around him. When healthy, both teams are going to be really good. I think that trade works out for everybody. Was it my turn to talk about my more round?
Yeah, go ahead.
My more round. Since y'all talking basketball, I'm going to get to the Super Bowl. But Rob Pelinka is the sports moron of the week. You sat there at the trade deadline and just watched everybody else get better. The Bucks got better. Clippers picked up 17 wings. Portland offloaded their whole roster. Milwaukee got better. Who else got better? A lot of people got better. Brooklyn and Philly both got better. Like, and you sat there.
Cleveland got better.
You're not getting John Wall?
Just ridiculous. Whatever. So, like, Rob Pelinka. Super Bowl moron, right? Before my time, I was born in 81, but 1985, Mike Dicker, sir, you are the Super Bowl moron of all time. You get to the goal line, Walter Payton, one of the greatest running backs to ever play this game, and you call a play for Mike Ditka, for refrigerator William Perry. You get him in the end zone, and you like That's a culmination for a player's career to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and you call a play for William Refrigerator Perry and don't get Walter Payton in the end zone. Sir, you are a moron. And I just want the record to show I was 100% perfectly fine with Pete Carroll's play call because the entire world thought Marshawn Lynch is getting the ball. He made a decision, and Malcolm Butler makes that play 1 out of 100 times, and that was the one. I was okay with the play call. We only upset because of the results. If they score right there, we say he's a genius.
Didn't they already have a timeout though? Like, didn't they have a timeout left?
Didn't Matt Patricia try to take credit for that play call?
They it was second down, right? And they had 3 instances to get to that touchdown with a timeout left. There could have been a better play.
Check this out. This is how we do in sports. If they run a play action and New England sails out, and that
Oh shit, he froze up.
Yeah, I think he froze.
Dang.
You said a 4-letter word.
I said dang.
Not you.
Hey, Ray, you back?
He's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm just simply saying that if they score on that play, we say Pete Carroll's a genius for fooling the whole world when they thought Marshawn was going to get it. He fooled him and did something else. But because of the results, we go, oh, that was stupid.
I'm on record in saying
why do you go with 1 out of 100?
I look at it as the same thing in 2012 when Minnesota Vikings denied Adrian Peterson getting the record. I still think they knew Marshawn was going to run it, and I still thought Marshawn was going to still get it. Because same with he was not to be stopped that Super Bowl because he helped them get down there and helped them be everything that he needs to be back there. So I do not think that was the right call. I do think you could have ran it because you had a timeout in your pocket and you had an extra down, and then you could have game planned for that. And I definitely did not think they were going to stop Marshawn.
If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But if they scored, you don't have this same outlook. That's all I'm saying.
But whenever the if part, we're just speaking on my perspective of what I think they should have done back then. Because even when that play was about to happen, I said run Marshawn, pound it to the middle. So it wasn't like if we did this, they didn't do it. But that's what I would say. I still don't agree with the call. I don't.
Right. In hindsight, because it didn't work, it's really
no. I didn't agree with the call back then when it happened.
But that's easy to say now. It's very
no.
Easy
I said it back then.
If it works. Nobody is screaming that was still a dumb play call.
No, I'm saying during the Super Bowl when it was actually happening, I said, do not throw it, run it. I did not like that play, period. If they throw it in the score, would you still be saying this right now? If they throw it in the score, would you still be here right now? Like, I still think it was dumb. If he threw it and scored, I was like, wow, you actually threw it, but you got it work.
Listen.
Hold on, but so same thing, if they ran it, you would have been okay with it too, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. But my whole point was the play that I wanted was not the play that they did. And I felt like they should have ran Marshawn.
You and me and everyone else. That's what I was saying. Like, I understand trying to fool people and throw the ball, but versus 1 out of 100,
yeah,
I'd go with the 99 times out of 100 where you hand Marshawn the ball. But I think we all agree about that.
I mean, I agree. I agree with Raylan's point. Like, if they go out there, they trick him and they make that play happens. But hey, man, that's why you're an NFL coach. If you can't take that heat, then that's on you. That's why you're an NFL coach.
Tyler, let me ask you.
It literally came down to that play.
Go ahead, Raylan. Go ahead, Red.
Let me ask Tyler and James a question, or the whole panel. If the Colts recover that onside kick, would we say Sean Payton was dumb?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
No.
So we talk about it now. Hold on, Denzel. We talk about it now as one of the greatest moments in Super Bowl history. They came out and fooled everybody. Nobody saw onside kick coming. It worked, so he's great. If they recover it and march down the field and score, we say, I can't believe he did that.
I mean,
it's apples and oranges.
I mean, it's just
an kick in the first or second quarter versus game on the line.
I can't exactly agree with that. The only thing that I will say is that was the first play of the second half. We're talking about the end of the ball game.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. We're not just talking about
we're talking decision making, right? We're talking decision making. There are people right now that feel like when Kansas City went for it at the end of the second half, that was a big play in the game and they lost their momentum. Do people not say that? Whether you agree with it or not, are people not saying that? So let's not act like the point in the game doesn't matter and it being a good or bad decision.
I kind of disagree. I kind of disagree in the sense.
Sean Payton could have gave the other team the ball at midfield to start the second half. but it worked. So
Generally, it's a good debate, but the game
tend to
situation
disagree
changes it.
I tend to disagree on that sense because given how the Saints were at that year, in that time frame, if they'd have missed the onside kick, I still would have given them a great chance to win regardless. It's not like the end of the dang game to me. I'm sorry. The decision making, I get what you're saying about that. If it happened, it was great. If it didn't, it would have been like this. But no, I'm only speaking for me. If he didn't get that onside kick, I'd be like, well, you got to buckle down and play defense, and you might have to give yourself out a hole. But it still would have gave him a chance to come back. At that time, at the end of the game, because you had another timeout, and because there was like 2 more plays left, you did not have to throw the ball right there. You could have ran the ball, seen what you could have gotten, and then you could have then decided what you wanted to do. So I do not agree with those situations being the same. I don't.
It's just we
thrown the ball.
It's all subjective.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, my whole point is that it's subjective on certain things. I mean, let's talk about the Super Bowl this weekend. Zach Taylor was 6-25-1 as a coach until this year, and he's got his team in the Super Bowl. Like we're talking in preseason, and I said Zach Taylor's fired. Zach Taylor's fired. Zach Taylor's fired. Zach Taylor's fired. I was harping about it, and he proved me wrong. And maybe it's Joe Burrow. Yeah, it's Jamar Chase. It's the whole squad. It's all of those things. But it's the same things. Gio could even say it down there. Gio could say it too. Like if the Rams win that Super Bowl against Tom Brady, then all of a sudden the Saints fans come out because the Saints fans say, "Oh, we got screwed in that NFC Championship."
Well, they're still saying it to this day.
You knew Jared Goff wasn't beating Tom Brady.
I
knew.
Wait. But to be fair,
we knew
Todd Gurley was not himself, and Cooper Kupp was not there. So
that part. That's why.
Hey, y'all got Stafford now. Y'all good, big dog. Listen, I'm just not a fan of us as fans.
You don't need Todd Gurley. You got Matt Stafford.
Right, but we just judge decisions based on the result, right? If Steve Kerr misses, we go, why did Mike pass that shot up? But he made it.
Or John Paxson.
We go, why did Mike pass that up?
Right.
But he made it.
No, you want to know why? Because white people make open shots. Can attest.
But we as fans and media kind of judge things in the aftermath.
To Raylan's point,
give me an open jumper.
Like I said,
I'll make
everybody else, I get that. For me, I've never been that type of person to been like, if he'd have did it and it failed, I would have got on him.
See me on the court.
The worst coach ever.
In April.
I understand you make a decision because in this game of football, you have to be good, but you also have to have a little luck. And every Super Bowl is won with a little bit of luck. So I understand the cause and effect of both things. I would never be sitting there mad at him if he didn't go for the onside kick and end up losing anyway. I'd be like, you do what you had to do at that time. But I still have my own opinions on what I think is better. And I thought at that time for Pete Carroll, that was better. The situation didn't call for you to have to do that.
You know what's better? You know what's better?
You could have thrown the ball.
Detroit Rams.
So we're gonna close this show.
Well, not tell me why you're a Lakers fan and not a Pistons fan, Ray. How are you a Rams fan but not a Pistons fan? I know we suck. I go on Megan Price's NBA Carousel every week and talk about it.
You really want to answer to that?
Yeah, briefly. We've already ran over. It doesn't matter at this point.
Kids are very what influenceable? I don't know the right word to use right there. Impressionable. That's the word I want to use.
You picked literally the worst franchise in all pro sports. To root for him, besides the Cowboys.
Let him talk.
Sorry,
Tom.
Well, my father,
go ahead.
Was a Lakers fan because he loved Magic because he's from Michigan. In the 80s, I'm born in 81. By the time I came into sports, Detroit was actually good. The Pistons were actually good in 88, 89, and 90. I just didn't like the Pistons. Fair. I did whatever my dad said. I liked the Lakers. Everything else.
That's fair. Okay. You said dad. That's fair.
Listen, you can't nobody ever call me a bandwagon when I ride with these jokers.
All right.
Period.
Listen, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, and before 2016, they were, they're a laughing stock for my whole childhood. So totally understand.
And now it's the Indian.
I'm a fan.
So Gio,
Guardian.
You guys we all have poor teams. Gio, do you have a sports moron? If not, then we're going to go around the horn here. Everyone can do their shout outs and we can close the show down.
Well, obviously Seahawks and Patriots Super Bowl was pretty moron play. I will say watching Stephen A. Smith this week and just the media just making these ridiculous narratives on how, the Bengals have no pressure. all the pressure's on the Rams. This is the Super Bowl, man. What is this about no pressure? And Kurt Warner kind of put him in his place, saying that you sound like a guy who has not played in the Super Bowl, Stephen A. Smith, which is obviously true.
Yeah, and they act like it's an automatic that the Bengals are going to get back to the Super Bowl. Just keep that in mind too. Like you got to seize them. You guys seize the opportunity.
Dan Marino, right after his first Super Bowl.
Agreeing with Stephen A. Smith, but tell me what sort of pressure? Realistically, what sort of pressure is on the Bengals?
Well, to win
the Rams traded away several picks and a quarterback that got them there for a quarterback that got, I would say, 95% of the pressure is on the Rams.
Let's face it, 99% of people don't think the Bengals are going to win. None of you guys think the Bengals are going to win. So
yeah, but there's other people on sideline sports who do. Play callers last night both picked the Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
I just can't pick
Dom, I get what you're saying.
It looks like destiny.
Everything is based on the age difference of the quarterbacks. One is a little older, the other one's younger. So because they think the other one's younger, I think he has more chances to go back to the Super Bowl, which is why they feel like the pressure's not on him. However, to Gio's point, that's the dang Super Bowl, and Joe is a winner. So trust and believe there's pressure on that man to win a Super Bowl because that's what he wants.
Neither quarterback had a playoff win ever until 4 weeks ago.
Think about Dan Marino, right? Everyone thinks he's going to get back, right? He's one of the greatest stories of football. What happened to Dan? He never got back to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so, but I think
Matt Stafford, if he wins tomorrow, he surpasses Dan Marino because he's going to retire with better numbers.
That's ridiculous. But I think a huge part of that no pressure on the Bengals.
Better numbers in a ring? How's he not better?
Yeah, we're not doing that. So, and I love Stafford, but we're not doing that. I think a huge part of the no pressure on the Bengals thing comes from nobody expected them to be here, so they playing with house money, right? If you go back and look at any preseason shows, a lot of people had the Bengals winning between 3 to 7 games. Yeah, and then they get to the playoffs and you go, oh, man, that's a good season.
We all
they made
picked
the
them last.
playoffs. And then they win. Go look at prediction shows. Everybody had Kansas City mopping the floor with them, and then they win. So the thing is, it looks like they're playing with house money. But like I think it was Tyler that just said, when they think they're just going to get back, man, I did a post talking about this. The AFC is going to be so exciting for the next 7 years.
It's
we love to put everything on quarterbacks, right? Joe Burrow got to contend with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson,
Justin
Josh
Herbert.
Allen, and that boy that was in his draft class over there in San Diego, in LA, right? Like, ain't no
Tannehill
in the AFC. So you're right. They do.
This is the gauntlet.
Hey man, Aaron Rodgers isn't a lock to come back to Green Bay. He could be in that AFC too.
Hey, listen, that's why I keep telling people, Aaron Rodgers ain't going to Denver. He don't want to see Mahomes.
No.
We'll see, man. We'll see. We don't know.
Ray understands.
We got to pick Kirk Cousins.
You got to look at that salary where Green Bay is at 31. They're going to have to restructure a lot of deals for him to come back. We'll see. All right, so let's do some shout outs here and wrap it up. JJ, you want to start? You want to start with us?
Oh yeah. Hey, great. I'll just shout out to you guys for allowing me to be on this show. Got a chance to meet some new people that I hadn't seen before and connect with some people of old. It's good to be here. You can just find me on Facebook, JJ Jenkins, and then we can go from there. You know, that I'm thankful. I'm very thankful.
Thanks
for coming on, JJ. Gio, go ahead.
Well, thank you for inviting me, James. I've known James the past few years. He tends to troll the Rams, every so often. But you can also find me on Twitter, Coach Gio with 2 O's. I don't have any Facebook. Well, I got a Facebook page as well, but not for anything sports related. But thank you for having me on, and look forward to more shows in the future.
All right, for sure. All right, Ray, it's on you.
Oh, it's on me, man. Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy, the sports reporter without pay. You can catch me on Twitter, SRWOP1. You can catch me on Facebook, it's Sports Reporter Without Pay. YouTube, Sports Reporter Without Pay. Also, remember, this is my team, man. This is family, the Sideline Sports family. Sports family. Y'all can catch us Mondays and Wednesdays, Facebook Live. And our show just got picked up by DBNA Television. You can catch us on Roku, mad early on Saturday mornings. And if I'm going to give a shout out, it's only to one person. That's my quarterback. Let's go, Stafford. Appreciate y'all having me, man.
Oh
Much
God.
love.
Oh gosh.
Appreciate you, Ray.
Hey,
Watch your
don't try
mouth,
and take
Denzel.
back
Watch
those
them
flowers.
lips,
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh man, y'all know what it
Go
is.
ahead,
NBA Carousel on Monday is hosted by Megan Price. Thursday night sip off with Megan Price, AB, and Jahan Phillips out there. And then of course you see where we at, Saturdays. Getting your evening started with us, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Philly Jim, Tyler, Dom, and myself, shout out Marshall Hill, shout out Craig Davis, more Conventional Kings fam. See y'all next week.
Everything Jay just said, but also Thursday nights at 7, kneecap biting with Smoking Jeremy B. That's on YouTube. That's an exercise in stupidity. I'm gonna bring you on, Raylan. 7, 8, 10 people talking about lions. It's a good time.
Oh
That
my
sounds
God.
fun.
That's it. It is.
I just love how they really named it kneecap biting.
Yeah.
That does
It's
not
so
sound
funny
like
to me.
fun.
With PC Principal, coach of the Lions. So my shout out Mondays, NBA Carousel hosted by Megan Price. Thursdays, the Sip Off hosted by Megan, Anthony, and Jahan. You guys can catch me here, of course, on Saturday, hosted by my guys James, Dom, and Jay. And then you guys can also catch me on Cage Ragers Facebook group for MMA and combat fighting, boxing, etc. We're going to talk about the UFC 271 card post-fight after Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker fight tonight.
All right.
Shout out to all the things that you guys just said, but the only thing I have to add to that is shout out to my sucker-free TGC fan.
Let's
See
get
you guys
it.
on the next episode.